We're live.
And we are. Hello, people. This is Pedophile, and right, Mr. Red Fox won't be here. Will be because he's busy cooking. Introduce yourself, Clem.
Yes, this is Triple M here, and well, I'm just gonna have to say this, but I got a bad feeling about this. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Star Wars time, so let's get it on here.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. What got you into the series, Mr. Triple M?
Well, it's something very, very far away. Oops, let me rephrase that. It was a long time ago that I can't remember which of the films that I saw first, but if I'm going to guess, I'm probably thinking it was let's see, Empire Strikes Back, Last Hope, A New Hope, and Last Hope. So you know what? I think it was A New Hope. That was number 4, right?
Yeah, episode 4.
Okay. For some, and the reason why I'm choosing that because that one got the most impression for me. Like it. And in a way that I was impressed that this is the first time I've seen something like this not I wasn't old enough to see it in the theater, so yeah. So yeah, on cable. And then to find out that after actually finished watching that film, I was like, it ended on a cliffhanger. Well, that sucks. So wanted to see what's going to happen next. Only to come to find out there were 2 more Star Wars films that came out. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm getting a treat right here. And surely enough, I enjoyed every last minute of all those 3 films. Even when it was on a marathon, which is even greater.
So, and I was first introduced to Star Wars when my father rented the first 2 movies, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and I watched both. And I became familiar with the Star Wars franchise ever since. So that was a long time ago. So I had to rewatch both of them, plus the Jedi when they got them on DVD.
That was like my favorite when I was a kid. I mean, I think every kid, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I was a kid, the first Star Wars movie I saw was Return of the Jedi because it was on cable for some reason, on USA. Yeah, I was a little kid. And then, and then after I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to watch these other ones. And I went to a friend's house and we watched Empire Strikes Back. And then I eventually saw A New Hope. Like, I saw it backwards first.
Man, at least I was lucky enough to actually see them right after the other.
Yeah, I didn't get to do that. Because remember, like, here we're dating ourselves, folks, but when we were kids, it took forever for certain films to come to video. So you just had to hope it would come on TV. It took forever.
It takes about a year for a movie to come out on VHS.
For a normal film, but for Indiana Jones and Star Wars, it took like basically Star Wars came out in 77. It came out on Laserdisc in 2 years, 79, 78. like 18 months to 2 years. It was a long time before it came out on, and then it finally got put on Betamax by around the time Empire Strikes Back came out, which was around 80. And Return of the Jedi came out on video in like 85, 86, but it had been out for like 3 years at that point. And Betamax. Oh, the good old Betamax.
I'm even surprised they came on Betamax, but I guess that's because I've never seen what a Betamax was back in those days. So yeah.
Yeah, well, the reason I know what a Betamax is because the school that I used to do after school with, like aftercare, after school stuff with, is they used to show movies, but they didn't have a VHS. They had a Betamax. I was like, what type of fucking VHS is that? I was like, oh, no, it's a Betamax. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. I was like, yeah. And like, I remember when I was a little bit older, like I asked my dad, I'm like, why didn't we get a Betamax? It's like the VCR was like $300. The Betamax was $800. You figure it out. It's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. There we go.
Yeah.
I don't need. Yeah, Sony, you bet hard on that one. The Betamax. That didn't work out for you guys, did it?
A bit too hard, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So now that we've all talked about, how when we first saw the original trilogy, what are your guys' favorite film in the trilogy and why? In the original trilogy.
Empire Strikes Back.
Strikes Back.
Everyone else, it expanded the story as well as its darker themes, including the now famous plot twist, Luke, I am your father.
Did Obi-Wan ever tell you what happened to your father? He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, Luke, I am your father. No, it's not true. It's not true. But that's not the worst thing in the world. Do you know how much shit you could get if you were Darth Vader's kid?
Actually, to me, I kind of, I don't know, but this is just something of experience of mine. So, it was kind of a revelation to me.
I'm just saying. Did you just like? It's like, hey, I'm Gordo. This is the fastest starfighter in the galaxy. Oh, you're Luke Skywalker. Yeah, my dad's Darth Vader. That's a nice ship you got there. I want it. But it's 30 million galactic credits. I want it as a gift. But it's 30 million. Did I mention my dad's Darth Vader? Oh, it's a gift. Take it. It's yours. You're all right. Cool. Cool, dude. Whatever you need. The keys are in the car. Can I take my fuzzy dice on the rearview mirror? No, I'm keeping the fuzzy dice. Come on, man. Come on, baby. Don't take my fuzzy dice. I'm just laughing a little bit at that. I mean, like, okay. Have you ever noticed how so many things in Empire Strikes Back are ironic later on after the fact? Like, the first time, like, think about it. The first time that Han Solo actually had dinner with his wife's father when they were dating, technically speaking, and it was just as awkward as you would imagine. We'd be pleased if you joined us. Oh shit! I think I shit myself. Lando Calrissian. And Lando Calrissian was there the entire time. I had no choice. Way to go, Lando. Way to go.
Well, that is kind of funny. That is kind of funny.
I mean, doesn't that make... And look, Darth Vader gets to do something fathers around the world have wanted to do to their daughters' asshole scoundrel boyfriends. Torture them, ask them odd questions, and then freeze them. and then freeze them in carbonite and sell them to a gangster. I mean, it's so awkward. It's so ironic.
You know, saying that now, for some reason, it never dawned on me. But now that you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, that's the greatest thing. That's the greatest thing a father would ever want to do with a.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be? I mean, like literally, if Darth Vader was a father and he had his daughter, young lady, go to your room. You're just torturing me. Oh, really?
Really?
Torture
That
droid.
reminds me of that.
Torture droid.
That reminds me of
Torture droid.
That reminds me of that Star Wars book I bought about Vader and daughter.
Yeah. If Darth Vader was a dad and all that stuff, it's a little cute. But if you're a Star Wars fan, you're like, yeah, it's not that cute. No, not that. No. If you knew Darth Vader like we know Darth Vader, you'd be like, no. And here's this terrifying thing about Star Wars. Darth Vader is terrifying, but you want to know who people are even more scared of than Darth Vader? Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
You watch.
I mean, yeah. The person, or should I say, the master that thought. Yeah.
And you want
the master that teach. That taught the young Padawan.
Well, I mean, you want to know how terrified people are of Palpatine. Watch Return of the Jedi, where he's like, I'm doubling my efforts. The men are doing everything they can. It's like Darth Vader's like, really? Because if they're doing everything they can, then you don't have to tell me. You can tell the Emperor when he comes here later on this week. Oh shit!
Oh,
the Emperor's coming here. It's like, yep. Yeah.
Now answer to him, you crybabies.
Yeah, like the thing about Darth Vader is, I mean, like Darth Vader is just like, okay, Darth Vader is an awesome villain, like on the surface, but when you really think about him as a villain, it's like, yeah, Darth Vader was cool in Rogue One. Spoiler, yeah. I mean, technically, Rogue One is closer to being part of the original trilogy than it is being a part of the prequels or the new trilogy they're building. So, like, Darth Vader is badass in Rogue One. He's badass in A New Hope. He's really badass in Empire Strikes Back. But by Return of the Jedi, he's just, I feel sorry for Darth Vader. I really do. I'm like, all that dark side shit. And at the end of the day, you're just a sad old man. Sad old man.
I think that's where you should see his earlier life in the prequel trilogy.
And speaking of the prequel trilogy, let's talk about the prequel trilogy. So, I mean, who saw the prequel trilogy as it unfolded like I did? I'm pretty sure all of us saw all those.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I was only able to watch episodes 1 and 3, but not 2.
Yeah, I saw it as it came out. 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, 1, I hated Anakin Skywalker and Jar Jar Binks. 2, I thought was pretty cool. Well, I mean, those are just, I didn't like those characters. Like, I didn't like Jar Jar Binks or Anakin Skywalker. The kid. I didn't like the kid because I found him to be annoying. But
well, I guess to me, I couldn't find them at, well, yeah, I couldn't find. Okay, I'm going to focus on Anakin right here. I don't find Anakin annoying because the first time when I watched that, I basically can I say I project myself as a kid being in that kind of situation. I guess I guess I'm the type of that's much more easier engrossed when something, if it's not done really bad, I can get grossed in much easier or quicker. That you can have that.
Yeah,
and I'll have it.
Yeah, you can have it. It's all yours. You can have all.
All right, people. Yes, throw the eggs in my faces because.
No, I mean, look, listen. Jake Lloyd Webber. I think that's his name. Jake Lloyd Webber. Jake Lloyd Webber was not. Like, he wasn't terrible. It was just like, okay, it wasn't him as a character. It was that George Lucas is a terrible director with people.
That should be common facts by now. I mean, have you looked at Samuel L. Jackson's performance in the prequel trilogy compared to his in other films?
That's what I'm saying. Like, here's the thing. That's because it was rated PG at PG-13. And, you know, Sam Jackson is at his best when he's allowed to say motherfucker. Now, if it had been rated R and Sam Jackson had busted into Chancellor Palpatine's quarters, he's like, motherfucker, the jig is up. It would have been automatically Revenge of the Sith would have been a better movie. But we didn't get to see it.
Say the jig is up. But.
No, well.
For a lore that has that sort of mythology, but
okay, fine. How about
I know where you're going for it because that would be such badass for him to say that.
Or how about he's about to kill Jango Fett. He's like, I have had enough of this motherfucker right here. I mean, look, the movie would have automatically gone up to like from being like a 70% to like 100 right there because Sam Jackson cussing folks out never gets old. Even if it breaks continuity, I just like seeing Sam Jackson cuss folks out, you know. or like when he uses his lightsaber to like reflect Palpatine's lightning strikes onto him, and he sees his face. You's an ugly motherfucker, you know that? You are ugly as shit, motherfucker. I'm like, yeah, this movie is better now. But I mean, look, if you can't even get if Samuel L. Jackson can't elevate your film, your directing style stinks.
Or you're not allowing him to just go out. Yeah, your directing kind of sucks.
Yeah, because I mean the same thing happened with the PG-13 RoboCop reboot, which sucked because
oh boy,
it had Sam Jackson in it, and it was just God, that movie should never have been made. But that's neither here nor there. So, what was your favorite prequel movie?
Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Revenge of the Sith. That's what I was supposed to say. I mean, it took them this long for the internet to start pulling out references and memes compared to the original trilogy.
You know, okay then, Triple M. Which one was your favorite?
I would say the Phantom Menace. Although I didn't say my
your favorite of the original trilogy?
My favorite of the original trilogy. I would say.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, now that I'm actually thinking about it, it's kind of basically the same with that one. I actually love the Phantom Menace more, and the original trilogy. I love A New Hope more.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. That's a theme going on with me these things.
See, I'm the opposite. I actually like Return of the Jedi more than A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, because it's the payoff. Like all of your hard work, and you get the payoff, and you really like it feels impactful. And Revenge of the Sith has it like you get the payoff, but it also has bar none one of the most black humor funniest things in the world to me happen in Revenge of the Sith, which is in the title of this podcast. I have the higher ground.
You underestimate my power.
Oh.
You underestimate my power. I have the higher ground. Don't do it. I have the higher ground.
That's become a meme throughout the Star Wars fandom.
Yeah, I have the higher ground. And well, I mean, look, listen. George Lucas, his directing of people sucks. But when it comes to ham-fistedly showing karma, I love his karma. Anakin Skywalker chokes his pregnant wife out, almost kills her. He kills a temple full of children. He turns on everything he stood for as a Jedi.
He's killed the younglings.
Yeah, he killed the younglings. And what was his punishment in terms of karma of the Force? Well, he becomes a quadruple. He becomes a quadruple amputee and then gets lit on fire next to a river of lava. Yeah, I think that's a fitting punishment, don't you?
Yeah, because death was too sweet for him.
Yeah,
and he was the chosen one.
Yeah, he was the chosen one. You were my brother. I mean, like here's the thing: as someone who watched the entire prequel trilogy and just hated Anakin Skywalker, seeing him get burnt and Hayden Christensen's simulated screams of pain, I'm like,
I would say I am definitely with you on that one.
I was cracking up. I was like, I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, I would say that that whole film for me. Well, maybe not the whole film. Let's just say what Anakin was, the path that he was walking to. I'm like, it was so jarring to me that this path was too short. His conversion was so short, it didn't mean anything.
Exactly. The heel turn, the face to heel turn was too quick. And like, because it's kind of like, I mean, I hate to draw this comparison, but it's kind of like how now in Justice League, like the new trailers, they're saying, well, you know, Superman is a symbol of hope and people love him. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that? Because I just saw an entire movie in Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel where they were like, this dude's a freak, get away. Like,
I wouldn't go that far. I got a different way.
How'd you do that? Like, how you can't do a turn that quickly from heel to face or face to heel, in my humble opinion. But basically that's what they did. Like, you didn't see Anakin Skywalker as a hero yet. Like, even in Attack of the Clones, he was going down the path of the dark side when he killed all those sand people. When he went with Padme, like, he was already doing things that Jedi really don't do. So at that point, it was like, I mean, I haven't seen you be a great Jedi yet. I mean, yeah, you can fly a prototype, a precursor to the X-wing. Yeah, you're pretty good at lightsaber dueling, but I mean, shit. I mean, I haven't seen you be a good Jedi. I can't. I mean, you know, if they did a movie where they showed Yoda turning to the dark side, that would have more impact because we've never seen Yoda turn to the dark side. We've seen him be a very good Jedi. We've seen him be a badass lightsaber duelist. We've seen him be a senile old man who beats up androids.
It could be a prequel to his earlier days.
That senile old man. At least that senile old man actually knew how to use a lightsaber. But
yeah, well, I mean, look, that's the thing. I was like, everyone's like, man, he was a senile old man. Look, Darth Vader could have found Yoda. He wasn't going after that shit. It's like, nah, man, I ain't fucking with that old motherfucker. Shit. Last time I messed with a Jedi Master, I became a quadruple amputee and a burn victim. I ain't fucking around with that shit again. Shit.
Well, that's the thing. He's got some screws to think that he is basically the untouchable. But yeah.
Last time we met, I am the master. No, last time we met, you were the master and I was the apprentice. But this time, I am the master. Only a master of evil, Darth. only a master of evil. I like how what's his name? Shit. I want to say Eric Guinness, but that's not his name. Sir Alec Guinness said evil. Only a master of evil, Darth. Well, he was a classically trained actor. He had to enunciate every single letter. But yeah, yeah, I was loving the end of Revenge of the Sith because Hayden Christensen's character dies horrifically, and we get Darth Vader, the badass, James Earl Jones voiced. Oh shit, this man's going to kill us horrifically. We got the Darth Vader we know and love. The if this is a diplomatic vessel, then where's the ambassador? Choke a motherfucker out, throw him into the wall.
That's one of the greatest reactions ever.
No. I'm a Nintendo gamer and they're making me pay $10 more than every other console maker. No. You can use that reaction for anything. You are the father. No. That's the great thing about. That's the great thing about. That's the great thing. But I mean, really, Revenge of the Sith is not a bad movie. It has some great lightsaber duels. Attack of the Clones had some great lightsaber duels too. Especially when you finally get to see Yoda fight. I was like, well, shit. No wonder people are like, who do you think you are, Yoda? It's like, now we know why people are like, well, you ain't no damn Yoda. I tell you that much. I was like, what's that little old man gonna do? And then I saw that little old man fight. I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's some pure agility right there. Ooh, some sport technique. Oh, God, my goodness, this guy's good.
800 years old. That's the power of Ataru and battle meditation, my friends. Ataru and battle meditation, when combined, are insane. But so I guess it's time to move on to the prequels. To the new films. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you haven't said yours, Pinky.
For like, you mean my favorite Star Wars prequel movie?
Yep.
Oh, that's Revenge of the Sith. I already told you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all enjoy seeing that poor man get burnt next to a river of fire. Symbolism. Being evil leads to punishment. That's symbolism.
And also because first were pretty terrible compared to episode 3, and that's not saying much.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, you could visibly see George Lucas get better with each film because George Lucas hadn't made a film in years, and it showed. It showed with Phantom Menace. He got better with Attack of the Clones, although he still dialogue and directing people still sucked. Sand. I hate sand. It gets into everything. Man, sit your ass down. That's what I wanted to say the entire time he was on. Sand. It's coarse. Motherfucker.
There's a new theory on what Anakin Skywalker likes sand, and apparently it changes the whole course of the Star Wars timeline.
Yeah, he would have never left Tatooine because it's a desert planet. What? Leave Tatooine? Man, I love sand. Shit.
Speaking about Tatooine, another thing that I actually do like about the Phantom Menace was the whole pod racing, which I have to admit, that was one of the few scenes that I just kept rewatching.
That was one of the few that was one of the best well-shot scenes in the film. I mean, I have to admit, pod racing scene in the Phantom Menace was very well shot.
Yeah.
It also makes for good video. It also makes for good video games and a perfect excuse for a Star Wars racing game.
I guess, man. I never liked Pod Racer. I never liked Pod Racer on the N64.
And I do.
Yeah, that was not my Star Wars game of choice on the N64. My Star Wars game of choice on the N64 was Rogue Squadron, which is good. Shadows of the Empire, which is shit. And that's it. Like Pod Racer is not a bad game, but I didn't like that movie. So I was like, I'm not gonna buy something built around a sport in a movie that I don't like.
Like even if it was a good aspects of that film,
I rented it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Like for me, Star Wars. The thing I like about Star Wars is like in terms of like non-Jedi shit, is like I like the dog fights. I like the starfighter battles. That's what I like. So those games are really my cup of tea. Like I never really like the weird spin-offs like here's Pod Racer, here's the Masters of Terrace Kai. It's a fighting game. I'm like, no, man, fuck that. Just look, give me Wedge Antilles and an X-Wing, and I'm good.
Good to go.
That's all I need. I don't need any of that. But we've got Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. Whatever, man. Look, I don't need all that. Unless you have Chewbacca with his bowcaster blowing motherfuckers away. I'm not Chewbacca, the Wookiee. But plus, Return of the Jedi is my favorite of the original trilogy because, come on, man, it's got Jabba the Hutt. That pervy, and Salacious B. Crumb. Plus, it has the Ewok celebration song, which is like the best celebration song ever.
I still can't believe I can't remember that. Oh, and it was something I liked in Return of the Jedi as well.
Yeah, and then they took it out in the gold edition, and then they added it back in. Yeah, they took it out because I'm one of those Star Wars fans that was dumb enough to buy it. Like, I have
everything.
Well, I have A New Hope on Laserdisc. I don't own a Laserdisc player, but I have it on Laserdisc. I have the VHS. I have the old VHS for it. Then I have the old VHS for Empire Strikes Back and the old VHS of Return of the Jedi. Then I got the silver edition that came out in the mid-90s. Like mid 90s. Then I have the gold edition where they added all that weird stuff to coincide with the prequel trilogy. Like they changed old Anakin into Hayden Christensen Anakin, which makes no goddamn sense because the dude aged while he was underneath that thing. It's like you're talking like 30 years from Anakin burning next to a river of fire to him dying, taking out the Emperor. But whatever, that's neither here nor there.
Also, another thing that I actually like about A New Hope, I guess is because maybe I was at the right young age when I saw that, which I really did not understand much of what I was living in the world around me, and I guess I was one of those people one of those kids that was trying to find purpose, but never really had any guidance until I saw at least one of these films of A New Hope, and I'm like, I found my destiny. But yeah, maybe that's just me.
So it resonated with you more. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, like here's the thing: everyone looks at movies differently. Everyone has their own type of, things going on. So, I mean, I can understand that.
And you know what? I do agree with you that after the subsequent films that came afterwards, they were better than A New Hope. But I still draw back to that fourth film. But yeah.
Also at the worth it that is also supposedly the worst of the original trilogy, because originally it was supposed to be much darker with Luke going to the dark side.
What, Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. I mean, have you heard about how it was originally going to be?
No, I understand that. For me, Return of the Jedi, I don't think is the worst film in the original trilogy. For me, I think the weakest film in the original trilogy is actually the first one. Not because it's badly made, but because
there wasn't much.
Because of the production behind it.
No, not even that. I think the original trilogy is the weakest because basically it drops you into this world and it doesn't like this awesome, fantastical world that has a little bit of science fiction sprinkled into it, and there's no explanation for what's going on. There's no backstory. It's like you're just dropped in cold. You don't know what's going on.
I can see that.
There's no history. You don't know what's going on. Empire Strikes Back is a little bit better because you have that first movie to kind of inform what's going on, and then you have the twist at the end of Empire Strikes Back. And I know some people, spoilers, look, if you don't know that Darth Vader is Luke's father at this point, what rock have you been hiding under? Like you would know this through cultural osmosis at this point. And I think Return of the Jedi, while not perfect, I think it did what it had to do. Because I think Return of the Jedi is like, here's what people need to understand about the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Everyone thinks that it's about Darth Vader. It's about Anakin Skywalker. It's about the fall, the rise, the fall, and the rise of this character. Like basically, the Phantom Menace is about, and I mean, I'll give Lucas this much. His prequel trilogy was not a simple retelling of the original trilogy with a different skin, like a certain film that came out recently. So we won't talk about it. It'll be the Voldemort. Like he did give us a different story. The Phantom Menace is about the rise to power of Palpatine, the fall of the Jedi, and how it begins, right? Like how did things get to the point that they were in the original trilogy? This is how he shows you how all this shit went down. He shows you how Anakin Skywalker came about, how Palpatine came about. And when Palpatine shows up, you're like, shoot that motherfucker now! Kill him! Kill him! But, you see that, and basically you see all the different pieces come together. Now here's the thing: George Lucas has really good story ideas, which is why I really think it's a mistake that they're like, we don't want any of your ideas for our new Star Wars thing. I'm like, look, he's a bad director, but he has some really good ideas.
Now, I will say this. Mr. T said it best. There were too much stuff that was cramped in the prequels, which by the time it started with Clone Wars and then and then the film afterwards, oh my gosh, there was so much stuff going on.
You know, I don't think that was the problem with the prequels. I just think that George Lucas has really good ideas, but when he makes a movie in a vacuum, like he did with Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, like George Lucas, the best Star Wars films are the original trilogy. Why? Because they were made in collaboration. There were other people there to say, that's a bad idea, change this, add this, do this. Yes. That's what made them good. They were collaborative efforts. These new films, the prequels were made just by George Lucas's ideas by himself. There was no one there to say, George, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. Go with this. This is a good idea. And I think
Go ahead.
No, I think had there been a more collaborative effort, those films would have been better. But here's the thing. A lot of the ideas, like the idea of telling how things got to the point that they were in the original trilogy with the prequel trilogy actually is a good idea. How he lays things out, how he basically teases you with this is what happened, like finding out where the stormtroopers come from, where they're derivatives of the clone troopers, right? Seeing the clone troopers going to war against the droid army. Like why droids are given restraining bolts. They're never given weapons unless they're probe droids or something like that. Now you know why droids are basically an oppressed minority or a majority, because there's a lot of droids for every human being, but whatever, or every sentient being, whatever. But you get what I'm saying? Like seeing all these different things be laid out, see where they got the plans to build the Death Star, seeing where where all these, like where Boba Fett came from, all this, like, because he was a Mandalorian, all that stuff. That stuff is really cool. If there had been another director there, like if you're a Star Wars fan, learning this history about where all this shit came from is really cool. Seeing the precursors to the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter and all this cool stuff, really fucking awesome. The problem is that it was done in a vacuum and there was no one there saying, hey, don't do that. Add this. Do because like I said, the original trilogy is really good because other people were there to say, hey, you need to do this.
Great scene here, but that's not how we do it. We got to do it this way.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, you know, hey, this is like, okay, what's one of the best parts about Empire Strikes Back aside from the dark twist and everything like that? Yoda, right?
Yeah.
Right? Well, originally George Lucas didn't want Yoda. He wanted a monkey or something else to be Yoda, right? Like they wanted a trained monkey. And then Frank Oz, he's like, look, just see me working with the puppet. And he was like, God damn, you're the best person to play Yoda. You should get an award for playing Yoda. Because like someone was there to basically, it was a collaboration. Other people were involved with it. And that made it into a better film.
Okay, now just say that. Now just say about that. Lucas wanted to have a monkey, and I'm like, couldn't you? Oh, I was like, okay, Lucas, couldn't you actually envision something that's much more, I don't know, alien?
Yeah, well, it was gonna be a monkey with some shit on its face. Like it wasn't a monkey. It was like a
something that looks like it, but
no, it was a monkey with a mask on its face. But they couldn't get it to do what they wanted it to do on set, so they went with the puppet that was made. Yeah, the puppet that was based off of some guy. So I mean, you know, the guy who helped design design Yoda. It was based on his face.
Yeah.
So. I mean, look, I'm just saying that, I mean, like I said, George Lucas has good ideas, but when he makes movies in a vacuum, they turn out okay, I love the movie Howard the Duck. A lot of people hate that movie, but that movie is just fun to watch. Okay, I mean, it's fun, and it has it's like an 80s PG-13 film, so it has some shit where it's like, this would be rated R today, but they just let it go because PG-13 was new. Like Temple of Doom should have been rated R because there's some fucked up shit in it where it's like, this is an R film. This is R. Okay.
In the Kali Ma scene.
A dude getting his heart ripped out, a room full of bugs, children being tortured, a man squashed in a diamond cutter.
Fire.
Yeah, people getting lit on fire, people getting eaten by crocodile. Like, I mean, like it's PG-13. I mean, hell, Monster Squad is PG-13, and it has a girl being blackmailed because her brother has naked pictures of her. A little girl being called a bitch. The Wolfman getting kicked in the nuts. Wolfman has nards. Wolfman.
Oh my God! Did you just say that? Just made me remember that scene. Oh my God! Yeah,
Wolfman has nards. That's all you need to know. He's got nards. But I mean, like PG-13 in the '80s was not like, okay. These films now, it's PG-13. Yeah, you ain't no damn PG-13. The PG-13 we had when we were kids was way hardcore than PG-13 now. Like RoboCop 2 is a PG-13 movie, and yet that film has a lot of shit where I'm like, this is R. This should be an R film because this is some fucked up shit. I mean, this is not. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Star Wars. Yeah, we're talking about the prequels, and the only thing I have to say about the prequels before we move on to the new films is, I mean, I give credit to George Lucas for having some really good ideas. The execution, not so much. I originally thought those films were terrible, but then I went back and watched them as a Star Wars fan after watching The Force Awakens, and I was like, these aren't that bad, because at least they were new. At least they were new and different and told us a different story. And you do get to see where so many awesome things in the Star Wars universe came from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I give kudos to that. So,
I would say for me, I was hungry to see more. Yeah.
So, with that being said, now we got to talk about
okay. How are we going to do this? Are we first going to going chronologically, or whichever one comes first?
Well,
We can go chronologically.
Or should I say by release date?
no, we can just. I mean, we're talking about the new movies, so we can do Force Awakens first, or we can do Rogue One first. It doesn't matter. Your choice. Carte blanche. Let's get the Force Awakens out the way first.
Yes.
Let's just get out the way first. Who wants to grab their baseball bat and go first?
Man,
I will.
Okay,
Well,
go ahead. You want a board with a nail in it or the baseball bat?
Heck, I don't need a baseball bat. It was so bad. It was kind of bad that I just need to use just my bare hands because that is. But yes, go ahead, Pinky.
Go ahead.
Well, as I wanted to say, to be fair, I can understand why The Force Awakens had to be more like A New Hope because the prequel trilogies left the audience a bad taste in their mouths, and they're trying to recapture the original trilogy before they can move on to the new stuff. Yeah, kind of like how in Jurassic World, where they had to make callbacks to the first movie, to the first Jurassic Park film, because the third movie left a bad taste in the fans' mouths.
I mean, I understand that, but here's the problem. They did so many callbacks to the original movie that it made Jurassic World dumber. Like, okay,
to be honest, with me, not even. You know what? I've seen. Okay, yeah. I would say it differently. The callbacks were there, but it felt tacked on to me with Jurassic World.
Well, I mean, okay, fair enough. You know what? You're right. To you, it probably did feel tacked on. To me, Jurassic World was like, okay, the plot for this movie, if you take in all the shit that happened in the other Jurassic Parks, which this movie, even though it's a soft reboot, they don't say that the other shit didn't happen in the other Jurassic Park films.
It's another thing.
So basically, the two creatures that we learned from all this other shit not to fuck with and to leave alone from 3 other movies, don't fuck with T-Rexes and don't fuck with raptors. We're going to take these 2 deadly creatures and gene splice them together to create a super dinosaur.
Oh my god!
To put some other shit. So let me get this straight. The 2 creatures that we've established in the Jurassic Park universe, which is it's now a universe, not to fuck with, and you really should just leave the fuck alone. You're going to combine into a super dinosaur and then act surprised when shit goes out of control. I can't believe this happened for the 4th time. It's insane.
Actually,
they've been trying to train the raptors in that. So
yeah, we can train. Look, let's go ask our friend Muldoon how that worked. Clever girl. And those poor people from Jurassic Park 3 and those people in Jurassic Park 2, the raptors weren't really there, but that T-Rex fucked shit up though. So, you know, I mean,
at least they kept the T-Rex contained in her pen in that movie because the only reason why it escaped because of Dennis Nedry.
And then they fucked that up. With the whole. I'm telling you, Jurassic World was just, to me, that movie was just so stupid. And even with the better special effects, I'm like, why is it? Because I went after I watched Jurassic World, I went back and watched the original Jurassic Park. The original Jurassic Park has better special effects than Jurassic World.
You know what? The screen sharing that I'm basically sharing right now, basically those two expressions basically encapsulate what Jurassic World was.
Yeah, it's like what the like the whole time I was watching Jurassic World, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm like I would have preferred them just to do a movie where like it's an underground thing. No one knows anyone's still cloning these dinosaurs, and then they get out and start killing people on an island. That would have made more sense than guys. Let's take the 2 most dangerous creatures we've established in the Jurassic World in the Jurassic Park universe, splice them together so they can escape, and all this shit can happen for a third time. Let's do that.
Just to make
no one learned that lesson the other two times, you know.
Just to make another attraction.
Yeah, let's try it again. But what about that time that the T-Rex got loose? What about that time that the monsters, the dinosaurs got loose and killed people? Nah, man, it's not gonna happen again. But it happened again before this. It's happened 3 other times. Never mind. I don't get paid enough to think about this shit in a logical fashion.
Just because we got better tax.
I mean, the whole point about Jurassic Park, the first movie, which I guess that's what they were trying to top, was that were 2 things. First of all, life finds a way. Can't forget that one. And secondly, that man is not at the top of the food chain because we earned it. We're at the top of the food chain because of a fluke of nature. That was the entire point.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
And then they messed it up. They were like, "Nah, man, we can't have that. We can't have that shit. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
We can't be doing that. What you talking about, Willis?
Just to make more money. But on top of that, let's just awaken our forces. Yeah, I can't even do that.
On The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's. So now we move on to The Force Awakens, and
Did I give the back to you?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Since you were the one who was first going to talk about this, so you talk about it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, after saying that, my complete understanding as to why they had to make why they had to call back to A New Hope with Force Awakens. What I can't. I really can't form a more appropriate opinion on it because it is the first movie of a new trilogy, so I had to reserve my opinion last 2 movies come out.
Okay.
To give out my overall thoughts.
All right, fair enough.
I can see that. Although I will say, cool. I will say it's on a bad start.
Because comparing a whole trilogy to one movie just seems unfair.
Fair enough.
I understand that.
Triple M.
But I would say by that notion, those two movies that's going to come after this, they better do better than what The Force Awakens. I mean, like they really have to awaken that force.
Yeah, I'll be genuinely surprised if The Last Jedi is not actually a repeat of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it is basically it's just like The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is basically a recasting of A New Hope with some modern aesthetics. The Last Jedi is basically a rehash of Empire Strikes Back. Like, I won't be surprised if it comes out that that this character is the daughter of Luke Skywalker. If that comes out, if she's the daughter of Luke Skywalker, I swear to God, I'm just gonna.
What if she's the long lost daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or at least a reincarnation of the ancient Jedi?
That'd be interesting, but
yeah,
that'd be really hard for Obi-Wan Kenobi to do because she's like 17, 18 years old, and we've established that like at least 20 years have passed between.
Yeah.
I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a Force ghost, but I don't think a Force ghost could create a baby.
Now, here's the thing. I did come to theorize that even though a lot of people said that the species of the human race came from Earth. So, and then they just spread in all these solar systems. So let's take that by that notion. I would really think that maybe in most of these planets, how their ecosystems kind of have their own unique traits might alter the growth the growth system of how a human race would live on, or even procreate.
I think you're trying too hard to justify this. That's what I think.
Well, it's kind of
makes
difficult to explain this, but yeah.
I think you're trying too hard to justify.
Well, I'm not trying too hard to justify.
The Star Wars series takes place a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. They basically the Star Wars. The
But
humans.
here's the thing: it has to start from somewhere.
Yeah, but the humans in the Star Wars galaxy are not human like we are human. At most, they're human in terms of parallel evolution, which means that
That's another thing.
you have something that evolves that's very similar, but it's like they aren't like us. Like,
Well, that's the thing. You're just making my point a bit more solid.
Not really. I'm simply saying that he's like he dies at the end of New Hope. What I'm saying is that Obi-Wan Kenobi dies in A New Hope. Okay, he died. He's dead. The motherfucker dead. He's dead. Okay. He's a Force ghost after that. When her character is born, he's been dead for like at least 10 years. At most, there's no way he could be his daughter.
Well, and who's to say that the growth is actually much more is slower than what we would think?
No, I understand that. I'm simply saying that this isn't a case that a woman gets pregnant by Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was stuck on Tatooine, nowhere close to the Jakku system, who was on Tatooine. Maybe he had a one-night stand with his old ass, and he got horny, even though he's a Jedi, and Jedis don't believe in doing the hanky-panky, but that's neither here nor there. Somehow he gets a lady pregnant, and the bun is in the oven for 10 goddamn years. No.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be for 10 years.
No.
All I'm saying, this can be open for interpretation until someone that's actually on top of this lore could straighten out the fact, and I can see that's never going to happen. But yeah,
because they threw out almost like 95% of the extended universe stuff, which is fucking horrible. But whatever.
That's all. Oh my god, that's all something.
They shit the bed on that one, but so basically, Pinky Don, what you're saying is that you can understand what they're going for, but you can't. They haven't produced enough information for you to
give out my overall thoughts on the new trilogy. Yeah.
To give out an overall opinion. Well, how about you just compare it to what it's basically a retelling of A New Hope. Look, you don't have to do the whole trilogy, just A New Hope versus A New Hope.
Or the Phantom Menace, but
it's no Phantom Menace. Yeah. It's clearly better than the Phantom Menace. But is it better than A New Hope? That's the question.
I wouldn't say it's better than the Phantom Menace either, but that's
okay. Fine then. Okay, actually, I take that back. It is not better than the Phantom Menace. I would say that Daisy Ridley as a character is more interesting. Rey is more interesting than
young Anakin Skywalker.
Young Anakin Skywalker. I'm sorry, because at least she isn't awkwardly flirting with Finn. Are you an angel? That's your best pickup line, 10-year-old slave boy. Really? to a 17.
To be honest, yeah, I can believe that because I have those very same thoughts when I was young. So
man, the whole time I watched The Phantom Menace, I was like, if this dude hooks up with this chick, that's the thing. I'm like people are like, how can Darth Vader be your dad? I'm surprised too because he had no fucking game at all. You got no game, son. Shit,
that's the thing. Because to some people, they really don't have they don't have to have game.
He had no game.
Hey, I am quite surprised that I've seen some people, and I mean some acquaintances of mine, that really have nothing to go for.
No game.
And yet he got the girl.
Yeah.
Hey, he can do it. What am I doing wrong here?
It is what it is. But so basically, how do you feel about it, Triple M? And then I'll give my opinion at the end because
okay. With Force Awakens, there's the little details that really stick out to me the most. Like the way that she basically, literally, almost to a point, mastered how to use the freaking lightsaber. Because I actually come to expect that she would have a much more tougher time to combat with the.
Well, you're right. You're right. That is a problem because how could she learn to? Okay, fair enough. She's learned to use a lightsaber because she's strong in the Force. But how is she going to beat a guy who had been basically training with the lightsaber for like 10, 12 years? Yeah. and was trained by Luke Skywalker and Snoke.
He was badly damaged at that time, which is why he wasn't at its 100%.
So he was channeling the dark side of the Force. The dark side of the Force, pain and anger, negative emotions make you stronger. So that's why he was beating on the wound to make himself stronger. He should have decimated her ass. But then again, I have something that can solve all these issues. This film was directed by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams can direct a fight scene to save his life. JJ, this was some of the shittiest lightsaber dueling I've seen. Like literally, Alec Guinness and Mr. Universe, Mr. World in A New Hope had a better lightsaber duel than this lazy ass shit they had in The Force Awakens. I'm sorry.
And you know what? Here's the thing with me. I would have believed this fight more if she used more of the Force than the lightsaber, but by doing that, she would actually exert herself. She would overexert herself to use the Force because she still can't. She is still not mastering it. She's just
channeling the Force.
She's playing more of the guessing game, and
the more she's channeling the Force, but not really mastering it. Yeah.
And I'm like, the more she guesses, the more she would be much more exhausted. So,
I guess, man. Or once again, J.J. Abrams can't shoot a fight scene to save his life. Like if you put a gun to him and said, "Man, you better shoot the most dynamite fight scene ever," he'd just be dead because he can't. That's not his forte. J.J. Abrams is like Steven Spielberg light, but he doesn't have any of Steven Spielberg's chops or abilities. So he's not Steven Spielberg light. He's the Steven Spielberg generic brand, not quite as good substitute.
Yeah,
like when you can't get Steven Spielberg, you get J.J. Abrams. It's not going to be as good, but it'll get the job done mostly.
Or his whole mystery box thing that he has.
Go ahead, Pinky.
And his whole mystery box thing he has going for his films and shows.
No, not so much that. It's just, I mean, look, I already talked about how J.J. Abrams jacked up
Star Trek, and everyone's like, man, when he gets Star Wars, he's gonna jack that up too, and I'll be damned. I wasn't right. Yeah,
I called it.
And that was just one of the aspects that really made me when oh my gosh, you got to be freaking kidding me! But then,
Yeah.
there was some other aspects early on before all of that scene is when this is the first time this is one of the few times that a film makes me question how the heck did this person got to this place, or how can I say this? How did she got to this MacGuffin in the first place? And like there was almost nothing that was basically
Are you talking about Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber?
Yeah, that was basically leading her to it.
Yeah, I mean, what? First of all, how'd they find that lightsaber? Because last time we checked, it fell into the depths of a gas giant on
Cloud City.
In Cloud City. Yeah. How the fuck did you get that thing? Who knows? I mean, it's magic. It's the Force. It can do everything.
Yeah, and
I think there was a description on how Anakin's lightsaber got there in the first place at Star Wars launch pad at Disneyland.
Man, if you believe that shit, I don't believe Disney at all when it comes to this.
And you know what? Here's the thing. This is where I actually would side more on Pinky about waiting for his judgment for the next two films, because if they actually find a way to put in the upcoming movie how they got that lightsaber there in the first place, I'll give you a thumbs up. I'll generally give you a thumbs up, because that made me question almost the entire time of that film after that happened.
Star Wars has a series of plot holes, like why the rebels keep always fly around the Death Star when they could just fly straight to the weak point to destroy the Death Star.
Because it had its own gravitational field.
Yeah, I would say even with a plot hole like that, it was the hole was much more smaller than what's been going on with Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Because at least
what is the one thing that here we go. How is it more threatening than the Death Star?
Well, I mean, and not only that, but basically, even like, okay, the film is almost a beat for beat retelling of A New Hope, and that pisses me off, because I'm like, this is not the film that should have been made. I mean, I'm sorry, I know people are gonna get mad at me, but to cleanse, you want to know the film that should have been made as the new Star Wars film that really would have resonated the most to Star Wars fans? You could have had the New Republic hunting down the war criminals that are the remnants of the Imperial Moffs, because these people are war criminals. We're talking slavery of sentient species, brutality, murder, sedition. That could have been a really good film, and you would not have had to be heavy on Jedi and Sith. You could have just had normal people hunting down these war criminals.
And you know what? I wouldn't. After I've seen Force Awakens, I'm like, yeah, I'm more inclined with that scenario, because at least with that scenario that you come up with, Red, at least they could use that for an overarching story of all three films, and then bring that renewal of the.
Yeah, but wouldn't that ruin the whole theme of the hero's journey? The plot you twisted?
No, because here's the thing. The thing is that, like, first of all, The Force Awakens, if they were going to do this, they should have had a moment where Luke, Han, and Leia and Chewbacca, the last of the old guard, get together and just like have their moment. Never had that moment. We can't have it anymore because Carrie Fisher's dead. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. But aside from that, No, I think that the hero's journey is great, and they can still have a hero's journey. You could literally in this film where they're chasing down the last of these war criminals, that would be the overarching thing. Like, we're chasing down the remnants of the war criminals. You could have some person on some planet who winds up helping someone who they think is just a normal fugitive, who turns out to be one of these mobs who committed war crimes. Because here's the thing. The Emperor's administrative staff, the mobs, did some really fucked up shit. They enslaved the Wookiees, sentient species, used them as slave labor. These people are war criminals. They need to be punished. There's all this shit of people that need to be hunted down and punished we never get to see. Instead, we get basically the Empire 2.0. We get a Death Star 2.0. We get a Han Solo. We get Darth Vader 2.0. It's like, come on, man, really? That's fucking unoriginal. As shit, it's balls at this point. And from what I hear in the new movie, it's basically Empire Strikes Back all over again. So with Luke Skywalker being the Yoda slash he's basically Yoda. Basically, he's Yoda. Okay, that's lazy. Okay. If I was in charge of it and not Catherine Bigelow, Kathleen Kennedy, the CEO of the Lucas Arts that's now owned by Disney, like I said, my first movie would have been, the overarching theme is we're hunting down these criminals. But they discover that the reason the Emperor, not only because Palpatine was a dick and a Sith Lord, was because there's this alien race powers don't work against, and Palpatine felt that if he basically wielded the universe into the Republic into this war machine, he could basically force things into such a degree that they would have the power to defend themselves against this invasion force of, basically, the Force isn't doing shit to these people. That would have been a very good story to build up to. But no, we just get a New Hope all over again.
So in other words,
with color swaps, with color and gender swaps of characters. Literally, it's color, like Rey, it's Luke Skywalker, but no dick. And Finn, it's a black Luke Skywalker, kind of, sort of. And Han Solo, well, now he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. and hey, do you remember how Darth Vader was a badass? Well, we got Baby Vader, not nearly as badass as Darth Vader.
I would say,
Vader fan club. Hey, you like the Emperor?
Now that is one thing I really can't find myself hating it as much. Like, okay,
the Vader fan club.
I actually did like the whole his whole outburst that he can't contain.
No, I understand that. I can understand why people like Baby Vader, but here's just one thing that's gonna make him seem like even more of a pussy. Okay, Baby Vader's whole big thing is that he wants to finish what Darth Vader did. Right?
Yeah.
Whatever that job is, he wants to finish it. But here's the thing. If he was strong enough in the Force, he could talk to his grandfather and ask him. And his grandfather would probably tell him, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you know how fucking miserable I was at the end of my life? You stupid shit. I mean, really, it would be a very simple conversation. And there would be no need for any of this.
But man, I would actually
give need to be a Jedi in order to see their Force ghosts, not a Sith.
Yeah, so I mean, so really, he knows so much about what Darth Vader wanted, even though he could ask his grandfather if he really see. But this is why Force Awakens is also kind of stupid. It's like, come on, man, really. But for real though.
But I would actually give it more respect when he finds out that. I'm like, grandfather, what changed you or something like that? It's just like that he was so cursed, not cursed. But let's just say he's so screwed up that he was like, you know what, grandfather, F you. I'm still gonna finish what you started. I would give.
It's not this big secret. He was trained by his uncle. He's like, look, man, why did my grandfather do all this? Well, you can go ask him. Go in that cave. You can go talk to him. He's it's force, a lot of force in that cave. Just go talk to him. He's in there. Look. That's the one great thing about being a Jedi. You can talk to the dead. You can ask them questions. Hey, Gramps, where'd you leave the code for the secret safe with all the money? I'm just saying, The Force Awakens was just garbage. Sorry, I can't hold it in. It was garbage. It was garbage.
I have to admit myself, as much as there's so many bad movies that I would see. I see some. Oh, I'm seeing what they want to do with this. I see what they want to do with that. It could have been differently, but Force Awakenings, I can't even force myself to awaken.
You can't. I mean, it was so lazy. They were like even let me put it this way. This is how lazy The Force Awakens was. Even Harrison Ford's like when they're like, we have to stop the Star Killer. It's another Death Star, right? No, it's not another Death. It's another Death Star. Even he's and this how, okay. They build a planet. They build a planet destroying weapon that can target multiple planets. But here's the kicker. It takes energy from the star of the solar system sin. So they can only fire it a limited number of times. So really all the rebels need to do, or sorry, the new Republic, all the New Republic needs to do is just set up a series of fake bases, fool these dudes into blowing them up. They destroy the sun in that solar system, and then just take them out. Because really, once the sun is gone, what are they going to do? They spent all this money to build a mega weapon that can't be moved except in the orbit around its sun. You fucking morons. It's just the movie.
One good thing the Force Awakens brought us was that baton pass stormtrooper guy.
Oh, you mean the dude that went in there and then saw that dude tearing up the shit? He's like, "Fuck this!" He turns around and walks out. He's like, "Well, to hell with this shit."
That was that one thing actually surprised me in this movie. That wait a minute, at least one of these stormtroopers are actually sentient.
Well, I mean, the stormtroopers were already.
That was it. I'm like,
the stormtroopers were always sentient. It's just that was their job. Like, you have to remember, basically, the stormtroopers were the derivatives of the clone troopers. The clone troopers were kept in line through drugs, rigorous training, and cloning. The stormtroopers were also kept in line not through cloning, but through drugs and rigorous training. Although they sucked at shooting things, it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I guess using the word,
because the number of clone troopers were decreasing, so they had to hire their own people to replace.
Yeah, because they had accelerated growth rates. Yeah.
Probably me using the word sentient was flawed to begin by using that, but yeah, I would say. In layman terms, I would have to say it like this. At least this particular stormtrooper was actually still had some functioning brain, or some sort of
like, fuck this. I don't blame him. He could actually hit things. Personally, I think that The Force Awakens probably, if they were going to continue with the same storyline, I think it would have been better had they made Finn the Jedi. Because that actually would have been an interesting dynamic. A stormtrooper who finds out he's force sensitive, and he like, oh shit, I need to learn how to be a Jedi. That would have been a really interesting dynamic. Instead, we got basically they took Luke Skywalker, they cut him in half. They turned one half black, and the other half they took off the junk, or inverted it and made it female. And they stuck him on a desert planet. Like, literally, it's beat for beat.
They're really not pulling
They stuck her on a desert planet. She finds an android. She finds a ship. She meets up with Obi-Wan Kenobi-esque character played by Han Solo. I mean, it's just beat by beat. They go to a cantina. I mean, man, fuck this movie. I'm sorry. No.
The ads and the merchandise made it look like that Finn was going to be the main Jedi.
That would have been really interesting. Because we have never seen. It would have been interesting, like I said, to see a stormtrooper who discovers that he's force sensitive and now he's becoming a Jedi. That would have been a better film. It would have been interesting. It would have been different. Like basically, like how he escapes from the new Empire. Well, basically, it's the fucking Empire. He escapes from the Empire. He's trying to find Luke Skywalker. That would have been an interesting thing, but no, we couldn't have something new. No, we just needed to have a New Hope reskin. Thanks a lot, you creatively bankrupt hacks. And then, people are like, I love this film. It's something different. Really? Are we watching the same shit?
You know what?
Those are the same people who ripped Rogue One for too much fan service.
Exactly. They're like, Rogue One, once we found out it's about the people who got the Death Star plans, I already said, well, they're all going to die. they're going to die. There's no other place. There's no other way this can go except everyone dies. Okay? And at the end of it, I told everyone, I said, at the end of this film, you're going to have Darth Vader show up and start hunting these people down. He's gonna, because all of this is gonna lead to him landing on Leia Organa's diplomatic vessel, and him like, you're a liar and a traitor. Where are the plans for the Death Star? I mean, it had to lead. And look, speaking of the new films, we got one of the most badass Darth Vader scenes ever. And it was like 30 seconds long, and it was still way more badass than that lightsaber fighting was way more badass than anything we saw in The Force Awakens. And that was just Darth Vader just killing just normal people, and it was still way better than anything we saw in Force Awakens.
You know what? Here's what I have to give it to the people that says that Force Awakens brought something different. I'm like, okay. I'll give you that, but here's my problem. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It was something
listen,
but it wasn't enough.
First of all, if someone tells me it brought something different, please scrub your eyes. Go watch A New Hope, then go watch The Force Awakens. It brought nothing different. It just made shit bigger. It's like, the Death Star was the size of a moon. This new thing's the size of a planet, so it's more badass. Oh, you thought Darth Vader was badass? Well, we got we got Baby Vader. He's like Darth Vader, but wimpy. hey, Luke Skywalker, you like Luke Skywalker on Tatooine looking for a better destiny? Well, guess what? We've got Luke Skywalker, except it's a chick.
This is the segue.
That's she's on a desert planet. She's a really good pilot. Hey. I mean, really, there's more things with her being Luke Skywalker's hidden daughter, because she's strong in the Force. She's a really good pilot. She has this weird connection with Kylo Ren. Actually, Ben Solo. That's his real name, Ben Solo. He's named after Ben Kenobi. Ben Solo. It would totally make sense for them because they're cousins. At the end of the day, you still can't let go the whole Skywalker thing, can you? You bunch of pussies. You're afraid. You're afraid. You pansies. Why are you so afraid? Why are they so afraid?
Because the Skywalker family has a deep connection with the Star Wars films compared to the expanded universe.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like had they not thrown away 95% of the expanded universe, they could have used a lot of those stories. For example, they could have used, they're having trouble with the young Han Solo story. You could have used elements from the Han Solo trilogy, which is actually really fucking good. It tells how Han Solo got in trouble. It tells Han Solo's origins, why he can speak Wookiee, why he has an affinity with Wookiees, how he learned to be a pilot, how he got the Millennium Falcon. It's a really fucking good trilogy. No, we won't get that. Why? Because they threw it away. Fucking assholes. Sorry. I don't like The Force Awakens, but Rogue One is awesome. It's a good film. It's dark. It's gritty. There's no Jedi in it. There's no Jedi or Sith Lords in it, except for the last few minutes, and it's Darth Vader doing what he. It reaffirms why people are like, Darth Vader. Oh shit! I shit myself. Oh goddamn! Darth Vader. Oh no! I shit myself again. Darth Vader's coming. Oh goddamn!
You know,
but it's not as well received as The Force Awakens from the audience.
Of course, because they're dumb enough to basically take a reskinned New Hope. I mean, I mean, hell, look, if you take your car in to be serviced, if you buy a new car and someone says, man, you tell them this car is a lemon and I want to return it and I want a new one, and they take that car and they repaint it, put new rims on and swing it out. Here's your new car, and you drive off, and it still has the issues, but you're like, nah, I'm gonna go with it. You're the dumbass who took the same damn thing. That's you. That's on you. I, however, will not be one of those people who's like, yeah, just give me the same things with a different skin. No, thank you. I will not fall for that. I will not. I can't do it. I can't.
Now here's the thing. I actually took that bait.
Yeah,
because I was like, it's a trailer of Force Awakening. That was the one. That first trailer that they put out. It was basically an homage to A New Hope. And I'm like, I actually believe that. That would be the only one thing that's an homage to A New Hope. But oh my gosh, was I wrong? But now speaking on to Rogue One, which I'll be honest, I have not seen this film as of yet. But from what I've seen from the trailer alone, already beat the entirety of Force Awakens. That's all I'm going to say.
It's good. It's very good. In my opinion. I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, you're just a fanboy."
I would probably enjoy this a lot more than Force Awakens.
You just a fanboy. You just a
man. If someone called me a fanboy by that, then I should have loved Force Awakening, because that's
yeah. For me, Force Awakens. For me, Rogue One was awesome because it wasn't like it was a new story. I mean, we knew that they had to get the rebels had to get the Death Star planes, but
the untold story.
But it told. Well, the only thing we knew was that everyone died. Because Mon Mothma in A New Hope, like, many people died to get us these plans. That's all we knew. That's all we knew. Now we know who died. It was a well told, like, we knew they all had to die. How they died was poetic. They sacrificed themselves. You know, their sacrifice created the rebellion and made everything come together. That was cool. That was actually a cool thing.
Looks like we got a minute left before this podcast is over.
What?
It says here it's almost 5:30 on my time.
No, it's 8:28 here. So we got 2 minutes left. Anyone have anything else they want to say before we wrap things up? Anything they want to pimp out? Any channel events they want to?
Oh yes. Did you know that there is a point and click children's PC game of Episode 1 starring Jar Jar Binks?
I did not know that.
I want that game so that I can hack it and kill Jar Jar Binks. Because you can never kill Jar Jar Binks enough. Like in Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga,
Wow.
I choose Jar Jar. Like you can basically switch characters and then go around and have the characters even walk around. I go out of my way to play as the Emperor or Darth Vader, find Jar Jar Binks and kill him by force choking him multiple times because I hate Jar Jar Binks. I hate that character.
Why am I always the outliner in this?
I hate. You want to know why I hate Jar Jar Binks? Not because he was annoying, but because the audience, generally speaking, audiences found him annoying, and the poor guy who this was his breakout role. This was going to make him a Hollywood star. George Lucas killed this guy's career with Jar Jar Binks. He was a black guy too. That was sad. That hurt my feelings. That hurt my soul. I was like, no.
Do you also believe in those Jar Jar Binks and Sith Lord theories?
No. Because Sith Lords are smart and clever, and Sith Lords okay, you can look at someone and tell they're a Sith Lord. Like you could look at Dooku and tell he was a Sith Lord. You could look at Anakin and tell he was a Sith Lord towards the end. Like even the hidden Sith Lords, you can tell that dude's evil. Jar Jar Binks, he's an idiot.
Palpatine.
But he's not evil. Yeah, Palpatine. When the first time you saw Palpatine, he's like, that's a slimy ass motherfucker.
Yeah. I would say with Jar Jar Binks, they would literally use him, and then when they can't use him anymore, they just toss him aside.
Yeah. I mean, Jar Jar Binks is a secret Sith Lord. If he is a Sith Lord, he's the shittiest Sith Lord on planet in the galaxy.
Well, according to the theory, he was supposed to be the Yoda of the prequel trilogy because he acts like an idiot on purpose to hide his secret identity that he's actually a clever Sith Lord.
I would say if that was something really true, then if that was the case, then the man he is really owning up to that that character. But yeah, I can't see it.
No, I don't know. No, I know that George Lucas wanted to make Jar Jar Binks into kind of like the Forrest Gump, where all of these incredibly important events happen because of like Jar Jar Binks doing something. He was supposed to tie everything together, but yeah, we see how that worked out. Triple M, you got anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything to pimp out here myself, but I will say one thing here. Going to be real here, but since we're in the hurricane season, and in my region there was a couple of islands that actually got devastated by the whole thing. My heart goes for you guys because I've been there, and just seeing that kind of brings back nightmares. But hope for the best. Stay strong, and as always, we can always rebuild. But don't lose hope. Don't lose your lives. That's all I can say.
Hope they stay safe from Hurricane Irma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really fat lady, really fat lunch lady with a mole on her lip.
I mean, even though my area doesn't suffer from hurricanes, we still have the San Andreas fault.
Oh yeah. You got earthquakes. Well, you people are making me happy. I don't live in Florida anymore, and I don't live in California. although we did have an earthquake on my side of the U.S. about 6 years ago, but because our part of the U.S. is so old, it really didn't do much of anything.
But are you anywhere close to the Yellowstone volcano?
Oh no!
No, he is far from there.
I'm East Coast, dude. I'm East Coast. Yeah.
Okay.
Technically speaking, in terms of the continental United States, where I am is the oldest part of the United States, and because because it's so old, when we did have our earthquake, it was like it was old, so it was like I'm solid as a rock. Get the fuck out of here. Now, where you guys are, you are the young ones, and some shit jumps off with you guys, it's real. It's real, son. Yeah. So, you know, I hope you guys stay safe and California doesn't become an island anytime soon. Because that'd be bad.
Don't tell me you're gonna make a reference of no, it wasn't that. Lost, yes,
Escape
Lost
from LA.
Escape from LA.
Yeah, I like that film. I like John Carpenter films anyway, even bad ones.
Who does not like that film?
A lot of people don't like that film, but I like John Carpenter films, even the bad ones, like Ghosts of Mars. But yeah, so everyone stay safe, and I guess it's time for me to pimp my stuff out, and then we can wrap things up. Basically, tomorrow at 7 o'clock to 8:30, where you have the BS Busters talking about third-party stuff. With the recent news that Rockstar is trying to fuck us yet again.
And also,
the,
also something related to Assassin's Creed Origins that just happened recently.
Oh my gosh.
That's new stuff. I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's Ubisoft, man. Like, here's the thing. Ubisoft has fucked up so much that I'm not even surprised by them fucking up anymore. It's like, it's Ubisoft.
You know what?
That's what they do.
Here's the interesting part. It's not what you think, which I think was surprising to me.
Yeah. You're not going to like it, Mr. Red Fox.
Well, you can tell me off air so that I'll be prepared for it. And also next week we will have, as always, every Sunday 7 to 8:30 BS Busters. But Saturday 7 to 8:30 we will have another podcast, and this one I think Triple M will definitely want to be in on. It's Marvel versus DC, but we're not going to be talking about Zack Snyder or David Goyer. I will put $1 into the curse jar every time I say those words on that podcast. Instead, we're going to be talking about lesser-known franchises or franchises that have been ill-used in those comic book houses that really need a TV show or an animated series or a Netflix show, whatever.
Probably some of those actually do get something.
Yeah. And I'm going to claim mine right now. Swamp Thing.
You know what? I'll take that.
Made a video game appearance in Injustice.
Yeah, I was going to get that game because it had Swamp Thing in it. But then I was like, you know what? It's a Warner Brothers game. I'm going to wait until the Game of the Year edition comes out, and then I'll get it on PC because I'm not paying for all that DLC. What?
It says you mentioned Swamp Thing. What about Man Thing?
Well, Man Thing is basically the shittier Marvel version of Swamp Thing, but not nearly as interesting. Like, Man Thing's okay, but Swamp Thing is way cooler. Because Swamp Thing is more like Captain Planet, although Captain Planet who has sex with young girls by making them eat his pickle.
Oh,
No. I don't mean that in a sexual way. I mean literally, whenever he has sex with the female characters in his comics, he's a plant man, so he gives them a psychedelic fruit that grows off of them that looks like a pickle, and he turns into something that looks like a dude, and they do it.
You know what? No, I'm sorry, but no matter how you try to not make it innuendo, and I can't blame you because even I'm trying very hard. It's just
it looks like a pickle. That's all I'm saying. Okay, it's a fruit because he's Swamp Thing and he pulls it off his body and he's like, "Here, eat this," and it gets them high, and then they do it. Look, Swamp Thing. Okay, look. I'm a Swamp Thing fan. Okay, and I really have some good ideas. I think on how they could bring it to a modern era. Whether or not that'll happen, probably not. But I really like Swamp Thing. But yeah, so we'll be doing that next week and talking about more BS Busters, because there's always BS Busters, but this week is the only thing we have left is BS Busters tomorrow. I might have a few videos out next week, maybe, knock on wood, if life doesn't make me ultra busy. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for joining us. Rate, comment, subscribe, share if you have friends that like talking about Star Wars. And if you would like to be a guest on the Sci Fi Power Hour and a topic interests you, send me a line. Or if you have a suggestion for a Sci-Fi Power Hour topic that is science fiction or science fiction related, drop us a line, and we'll take up the topic. So that's it. Peace out. Good night.